Greetings, friends! During my time as a farmer and market gardener, I have learned a lot of lessons, and regretfully I've made a lot of mistakes. I have spent money on things that I shouldn't have, and I also waited too long to get tools that I should have gotten. So in today's vlog, I'm going to share with you must-have tools that you need to purchase as a market gardener. And these tools go beyond the basics of shovels and rakes and seeds, things like that. No, these are must-have tools that are going to help you be successful to the next level. And the first tool that I recommend is tarps. Yes, tarps are great for basically two things. One, if you have a new area that hasn't been prepped yet for a garden bed, put a tarp down. It will basically smother out the unwanted plants, the weeds that are already there, and help you create a more stale seed bed. And then after that, you pull that tarp away after a couple weeks, and you can prep that bed to be ready for plants. And the second way you can use a tarp is after you've harvested a crop already in a bed that has been prepped and things have been growing in it, and then you've harvested that crop, put that tarp on there, so that way it will keep, especially if you're not ready yet to put in a new crop or sow a new seed, put a tarp on that bed. That way it will keep seeds from sprouting, unwanted plants that you don't want growing, and then when you're ready to actually plant, just pull that tarp up and plant right in that bed. And there's a number of places that you can get silage tarps from. You can buy them online. However, if you're buying them online, you're going to pay $100+ plus shipping to have these tarps sent to you. Instead, go to billboard companies. There's a lot of billboard companies around in the country. And once they take the billboard signs down, what are they going to do with them? They're going to take them to the dump. Instead, go to them. They can be recycled and used on your farm as silage tarps to help you in your stale seed bed preps. One of the companies that I highly recommend is AdamsOutdoor.com. You can visit their website and contact them to see if there's a location near you. They sell their tarps, their old billboard signs for $20 to $25. So that is much, much cheaper than going online and paying $100+ or more for tarps. The second tool that I recommend is a broadfork. The broadfork is an excellent tool for helping you to loosen up your soil, get air in there, so that way you're working with soil that is a lot looser, a lot easier to work with. One of the broadfork companies that I really like is Treadlite Broadfork. So I'll provide their information in the show notes below. The third tool that I recommend is a cultivator or tilther. And you can set a cultivator to a lower level so that way you're not tilling real deep if you want, but that tool is very, very beneficial in using after you've used the broadfork. So the broadfork gets in there and breaks it up and gets low, and then the tilther can basically, or cultivator can till up right on top of the surface and have it loose for you, so that way you have loose soil to put your plants in. Which brings me to the fourth tool that I highly recommend, and that is seed flats and seed plugs. And I really like Bootstrap Farmer because they are excellent. They have high quality trays, seed flats to purchase and that they sell. So you definitely want those, because one of the things that I really regret is waiting too long to purchase these as a market gardener and even farmer or homesteader, because having seed flats and seed plugs can really help you crank out quantities of plants that you're growing instead of trying to do everything by seed. Basically, just these seed flats will basically ramp up your efficiency and your production on your farm. The fifth tool that I recommend is landscape fabric. I really like the DeWitt Sunbelt landscape fabric, and landscape fabric is great because it really helps after you've planted and you still working with the unwanted plants and the seeds that are in the soil. It really helps suppress them as you're growing your crops. Lettuce, for example. If lettuce is growing and you have it in your landscape fabric, it suppresses the unwanted plants and the weeds around it. So when you're harvesting your lettuce, you don't have to worry about harvesting grass and plantain and horse nettle while you're harvesting your lettuce. No, it keeps those down. So imagine not having that. You're having to work your way through all those unwanted plants to harvest the lettuce, which your customers don't want. Who wants to be eating horse nettle? No. And who wants to be eating grass? No. So you want that landscape fabric will really help suppress the things that you don't want to grow and help you manage your beds and manage your crops more efficiently. The sixth tool that I recommend is a stirrup hoe. In your walkways and areas that you don't have landscape fabric down, a stirrup hoe is great for really just knocking out the unwanted plants without breaking your back or having to reach down and pick them up and pick them out every time. There's a number of great tools, and you can even just go to Lowe's and get a good stirrup hoe. Or you can visit our Amazon store and you can buy a stirrup hoe just like we use, and it won't cost you anything extra. The only thing is that Amazon gives us just a little bit of kickback, a little bit of contribution to the work that we're doing. And the seventh, last but not least, tool that you need to have is some form of refrigeration, whether it be a couple of refrigerators or coolers. If you have coolers and that's the only way you can start, you need to keep in mind that once you harvest, put them in coolers. Those coolers are basically just to help you transport your produce, especially if you have some that tend to spoil a little quicker and easier, such as your greens. So keep that in mind. You can get away with using a couple refrigerators if you're starting really small scale. But eventually you want to bump up to where you're having a walk-in cooler, which is what we're doing right now on our farm. We've had a walk-in cooler last year, but the area that we put it in was not a good location. And this year we've had to just wrestle with having refrigerators and coolers. And we look forward to having our new walk-in cooler soon, because it is great to basically harvest your produce, take it and put it in the walk-in cooler, and then come back and prep it and package it and wash it another day. That is extremely helpful, instead of doing it all in one day of harvesting it, cleaning it, packaging it, and take it to the customers. But when you're on a tight budget and you're just trying to get things started, you just have to do what you have to do sometimes. So these are the must-have tools that I recommend for beginning a market garden. And you can spend anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 on these tools. That's not including if you decide to go ahead and buy a walk-in cooler. Of course, that's going to be more. But if you're going with the basics, you're going with the cheap, you need to plan to expend at least $1,500 to $2,000, unless you're buying all of them used somewhere. But I'm giving you, especially like the sideless tarps, those are like the cheapest that you're going to find, unless somebody just outright gives it to you. Some of the other things that I didn't mention are things like a BCS or walk-behind tractor. I recommend not buying those when you're getting started. Go ahead and rent or borrow those from a friend, family member, and use that. You only need it once or twice a year, because if you have the Broadfork and you have a cultivator, you can make it work without it just to get started. And like I said, if you're renting it or borrowing it, you can try to use it whenever you're able to. And when you're planning out what tools you are going to purchase, you need to think about the major stages of the farm production. And that is bed prep, that is seed sowing, starting your seeds and your plants, that is plant management, that is harvest, and that is post-harvest. And I just want to remind you that if you want to buy any of these items, you can go to the show notes below and you can visit our Amazon store, and we have the Stirrup Hoe, we have the DeWitt landscape fabric, we have the Treadlite Broadfork, and we have the trays from Bootstrap Farmer. So once again, you can buy the same items that you're going to buy anyways for your farm. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but you can buy them and support the work that we're doing. Hope you found this helpful. See you next time. Grow on.
Thanks for watching.
Feel free to leave a comment below, even if it's just to say, hey. Also, make sure you don't miss any of our new videos. So, subscribe and sign up to receive notifications each time we release a new video. Also, you may want to check out these videos right here. And also check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. See you next time.